Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another MBA Spotlight brought to you by GMAT Club, where we connect you with the best of the best business schools across the globe. Today on our session, we have the University of Cambridge Judge Business School, and representing the school, we have the lovely Emily Brierley, who's the head of admissions and recruitment at the Judge Business School. Hi, Emily. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ankit. Yeah, I'm great, thank you. And thank you so much for having me join you today. I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
We really appreciate this, Emily. Thank you so much for taking the time out for doing this. Uh, After this session, we have a live Q&A where viewers can join in on a Zoom session and ask your questions directly to Emily. She'll be answering all your questions in that session. So another opportunity to get a little bit more personal with your questions. If you are not comfortable asking them on the Zoom session, you can drop them down on the chat below and somebody from Emily's team will be answering those questions for you. Uh, Before we start, Emily has a very concise presentation for all our viewers. Post that presentation, we have a set of pre-submitted questions that we're going to ask you. Is that okay, Emily?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you, Ankit.
All right, over to you, Emily.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm delighted to be here today and to tell you more about the Cambridge MBA. So my name's Emily Brierley, and I'm the head of MBA admissions and recruitment at Cambridge Judge Business School. And I've worked here for about 3 years now. So, as you're joining me today, I imagine that these are some of the questions that you might be thinking about. So, is a Cambridge MBA for me? What will it deliver? What will it be like? And why Cambridge? So, over the course of the next 15-20 minutes, I hope to be able to answer some of these questions for you. So, the first thing you might be thinking is a Cambridge MBA right for me? Well, are you someone who has progressed successfully in your career? Someone that didn't study business but learned primarily on the job? Are you looking for a change, function, sector, or location, or maybe even all three? Or do you want to fast track your career? Or perhaps even all of the above apply to you? We continually have over 90% of the class change sector, function, or location, and usually around a third of the class achieve all three. So the Cambridge MBA will bring change to your career, your outlook, your network, and your future opportunities. So one of the things I hear time and time again from our current students and alumni when speaking to them and meeting them is one of the reasons they chose Cambridge for the MBA program was the size of the cohort. So we have around 200 students in each class, and we think this is the optimum class size to build really meaningful relationships, really get to know your classmates, and develop a strong international network. CJBS has an incredibly strong community, and collaboration is paramount. So you'll do a lot of work in groups on the program, and we're looking for people who are team players and who are going to bring energy to collaborative learning. So diversity is vital for us, and we build a class with varied backgrounds. So not just nationalities. So we have 45 nationalities in the current class, but also backgrounds in terms of their work experience and the industries they come from. The average work experience in each cohort is 6 years. The average age is 30, and the average GMAT is 690. But just bear in mind that, we have more and higher and lower of each of these. So who is it that we're looking for? So I often get asked when I meet prospective applicants, at events, what is the ideal MBA candidate? And because we have such a diverse class, there isn't a specific type that we're looking for. But I would say, as well as people who thrive in a collaborative environment, we're looking for people who are curious to learn, people who think creatively and aren't afraid of innovation, smart people, dynamic people, and highly motivated people who work hard and are ambitious. So you might be wondering what the MBA will deliver, not just in terms of the academic experience, but in terms of your personal development, your networks, and of course, the career impact. So our one-year program is rigorous and intensive. We fit a lot in, and we start to work with you before you've even arrived, so we can prepare you for a return to study. and particularly to get you started with your career development work. So the curriculum is rigorous, it's fast-paced, it's intense, and it's quite unique. So the focus is practical. So you're going to be learning by doing and using real-life scenarios to apply this learning. So of course, there are lectures and theory, but the main emphasis is on applying your classroom learning in team projects, simulations, and study group assignments, often involving practitioners and real clients. There are 4 distinct phases to our program, taking you from a micro to a macro pathway, and with a learning milestone or project at the end of each term. So one of the things I would say about the Cambridge MBA is that it is one of the most experiential MBA programs. And the 4 projects that you will do throughout the year will explore and solidify what you've learned in each term in the classroom. So you will do 3 team projects during the year, 2 of which are working for real companies or non-profits. And then you'll then have your individual project in the summer term. So this is where you can opt to do a work placement. This is essentially an internship. You can do an individual project like consult for a company, or you could do a research paper. So the Cambridge Venture Project is your first group project in the first term. And this will be working with a local startup or an SME. And it complements your learnings in the first term from management praxis, which is a core course which focuses on team dynamics and team building. So the projects and the companies are really, really varied. So for example, in the past, we had one group developing a charitable infrastructure to support families affected by a group of rare inherited neurotransmitter diseases, and another group looking at spatial AI as a product. So profiling and interacting with the industrial drones and robotic market to identify product market fit. So there's lots of really, really interesting projects for you to get involved with in the first term and to kind of really sink your teeth into and kickstart the program. In the second term, you do the global consulting project. So this is really the highlight of the program for many of our students. So you'd be working on a real live project for a company. This could be based in the UK, or sometimes it can be overseas. And you'll work as a group to deliver for the client. And this is usually for about a month at the end of the second term. And we've had students work all over the world with global companies such as Lego and Patagonia, or NGOs such as the World Health Organization and the UN. We have a projects team, and they source a portfolio of projects that you can choose from, or you can, source your own. And we do strongly encourage students to do this, as it's a really great way to introduce yourself to a company that you might want to work with post MBA. And then finally, in the third term, you'll do your last group project. So this is the board impact project, and it ties in with your concentration choice, where you'll present your project to a simulated executive board. So I think one of the key things to think about in terms of the projects are that they are just such a fantastic opportunity to gain and build experience in a new area. And this is particularly important if you are looking to make a career transition, as it's going to provide you with real world examples that you can draw on during interviews post MBA. So what about the career outcomes for alumni, and what will it deliver for your career? And how will it make your goals for advancement or switching happen? So we survey each class 3 months after completing the program about their jobs and career. And our latest employment report gives the following data. So 96% switched at least country, location, or function, and 30% switched all 3. So you can see our program really delivers career change for those who want it. So what support will you get in your career journey during the program? So there is a full careers provision here for you during your MBA, and it's a core part of the experience. The careers team's purpose is to provide a program of professional development, sector and functional insights, career management skills, and recruitment opportunities to support you in achieving your career ambitions. We work with a range of expert consultants from the different sectors to work with students individually. And the careers team continually talk to recruiters to understand their requirements and deliver over 1,000 workshops, advisory sessions, and recruitment events every year. And this bespoke and personalized careers service is one of our key differentiators. Our class size allows close interaction between careers and individual students, giving our students the extra support they want to really make a career impact. So one thing I want to talk about, and something that makes the Cambridge MBA unique, is its location within Silicon Fen. So for those of you who may not have heard of it or be aware of it, Silicon Fen is Europe's version of Silicon Valley. So it's sometimes referred to as the Cambridge cluster or the Cambridge phenomenon. And CJBS is at the heart of this vibrant business community. And this is a key draw for students who are interested in careers in tech or pharma or aspiring entrepreneurs. So there are more than 1,500 companies with a combined revenue of £12 billion that thrive in Cambridge, and over 900 high-tech firms within 50 miles of the city centre. VC funding invested in Cambridge University spin-offs is higher than any other European university. And you'll get the opportunity to work with some of these companies through your CVP in the first term. So this is a really great introduction to Silicon Fen, and many students keep in touch with their clients. So as well as being a member of the University of Cambridge, you are also a member of a college. So some of you may be familiar with the collegiate system. Absolutely, like if you're not, don't worry, I will explain it now. I've lived in Cambridge for about 5 years, and it took me a good 2 or 3 years to fully understand it. It's quite confusing. But so there are 31 colleges. So as well as being a member of a department of the University of Cambridge, so for MBAs, that's CJBS, the business school, all students who study at Cambridge are also a member of one of these colleges. And the great thing about the colleges is that they're multidisciplinary. So they're not organized by subject. So it's a really, really great way to broaden your network and meet students studying a range of different subjects and at different levels, ranging from undergrad through to postdoc. We've even had some MBAs start businesses with students in their college after the program. And the colleges will just really add another dimension to your time in Cambridge. So colleges are where you can join any extracurricular activities, any clubs and societies such as sports. So rowing is very popular in Cambridge, or debating. It's also where you can attend events, so things like formal dinners and balls. So I don't know if you've seen Cambridge students, wearing the Harry Potter black gowns. That's you'll get to do that within your college at the formal dinners. They all have study spaces, they all have libraries, accommodation, and many of our students live in college accommodation. But really the college experience is just a massive plus to your MBA. So with the MBA program, you have the rigorous study, the networking, the industry events through the career development program. But your college is where you live, it's where you eat, it's where you network, and it's where you socialize outside of the MBA. So at this point, I've given you quite a bit of information. So just to summarize, if you come to Cambridge for your MBA, you will receive a Cambridge-style education. And that's a really special thing, and one which is known and admired around the world. It means you will get a stimulating and broad education, one that is innovative and entrepreneurial in style, and one which focuses on positively impacting society. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily. That was great. That was very concise and that was very informative. I love the fact that your presentation did not have a lot of text, but you covered that up with whatever information you had to share with the viewers. So I'm sure they loved that information. So if you're ready, can we start off with the questions?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. You've just ended with round 2 very recently. So could you tell us what the experience was and what your feedback is with the overall applications this year with round 1 and round 2?
Yeah, absolutely. So so like you said, we've had round 1 and round 2. So our round 1 offers went out, and I'm really delighted that we've been able to make offers to some absolutely fantastic students. So we're at that very exciting time of the year where people are starting to accept and starting college applications and getting excited about being part of the program. So that's absolutely fantastic. And we have our round 2 interviews coming up over the next couple of weeks. So that's exciting as well. So now we're kind of in the run up to round 3. So round 3 traditionally always our biggest round. So if there are any students on applying, there's about 6 weeks left to the deadline. So, you just really want to be focusing on your essays if you haven't already made a start on them. Perhaps you're thinking about trying to retake the GMAT again before the deadline, maybe to try and improve the score. So there's about 6 weeks left. So obviously, it's just about getting your documents ready to submit in time for that. And of course, if you have any questions, then you're welcome to contact us. We do run some information sessions specifically for applicants applying in each round. So they'll take place in December for round 3 candidates. So if you have any last minute questions and you want to run through anything, then please join us for one of those and we can have a chat with you.
Yeah. So round 3 is coming up on the 10th of January. So whoever's applying.
Yes, that's correct. Because I kept telling people the 11th, which apparently was last year. My colleague had to correct me. That was quite embarrassing. And I've just said it again. So
right. So and you have a total of 5 rounds for application. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So students often ask, should I apply early? Which rounds are the best to applying? I think, and like a lot of our peer schools, I think, it's funding is the key thing. So we do have scholarships available in all 5 rounds now, which I'm really excited about for this year. This is something new that we've introduced. However, the majority are, we have more available in the earlier rounds. So for example, the entrepreneurship scholarship and the technology advancement scholarships, we offer 3, one in round 1, round 2, round 3. So if you're interested in any of those, then you do need to apply by round 3. We also have bursaries, and these are available in every round as well. You can't apply for these. Everyone that's made an offer after interview is automatically considered for a bursary. But yeah, I think the main considerations are financing, funding, but also for Cambridge, it's colleges. So colleges have MBA quotas in each, for each college. So when they meet those MBA quotas, they will close. So by the time you get to round 4 or round 5, then you will have a smaller choice of colleges to pick from. So if there's a college that you're really interested in, then we recommend applying early.
Yeah, that's very important to note. I'll move on to the next question. What would you say a calendar for a full-time candidate at the school looks like? I know you spoke about projects and you spoke about different opportunities, but could you also talk about the calendar or the schedule for a candidate?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think there is like a standard what one MBA candidate calendar looks like, particularly at Cambridge because of the colleges. There is so much to get involved in outside of the program, and it's really up to the individual how they want to maximize that time. So some students might spend a lot of time in their college or doing sports. So for example, we get a number of rowers every year who row at the University of Cambridge women's boat team and in the boat race against Oxford. And I was speaking to a candidate who's training for that this year, and her schedule involves getting up very, very early and rowing for 3 hours before she even comes to class. So it is very different. What I would say, I think, is the first, it is an intense year. It is a very intense, rigorous year. You're basically, with the 1-year MBA programs, you are basically condensing, a 2-year program into a 1 year. So there's a lot to fit in. They're busy. What it means for Cambridge is, I think the first term is going to be your busiest term. So you're just you're settling in, you're getting to know your classmates, you're going to be doing your CVP pretty much from, like the second week, and you're doing all your core classes. So the first term is definitely the busiest term, and you'll find you're in lectures for most days as well. And then as the terms go on, as you start to specialize with electives and your concentration in the third term, taught hours become less, and you do have a bit more flexibility. But it is a very busy year. But I don't think there's any kind of one standard calendar. But you will become great at prioritizing, and you'll definitely experience FOMO a lot. So
you can't do everything.
Yeah, well, exactly.
All right. As a follow-up to this, you did mention about concentrations and electives in your presentation. Could you tell our viewers what those concentration options are?
Yeah, so we have 10 concentrations. to pick from. Would you like me to list them all?
You can probably talk about the ones that are most sought after.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I was just suddenly realised. Yeah, so there's 10 you can pick from. I'd say the most popular ones, it varies year on year, but at the moment, and particularly where we are based in Silicon Valley, digital transformation is always a key one. Entrepreneurship. So we get a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs that kind of want to grow or develop their business, and finance as well. So I'd say those are the key ones. But the great thing about the concentrations, and I think one of the draws of the program for our students, is that we also offer concentrations in healthcare strategies, culture, arts, and media. And this is also reflected by our professional diversity scholarship that we offer. So we'll offer one in each of the 5 rounds to encourage students that come from perhaps, more atypical industries.
Okay. And how many electives would you say a candidate is allowed to pick out of the 28 or 30 odd electives options that you have?
Oh, yeah, sorry. So, yeah, the electives, so you'll pick 3 in the second term, and you'll also do another 3 in the third term alongside your concentration. So you'll do 6 in total.
Are candidates allowed to go beyond those 6 as well? Or are they limited to just 6 electives?
I think it's limited to 6. I'm not 100% on that. I can definitely find out if anyone's interested. Feel free to drop me an email.
To find out more, join the Zoom session.
Yeah.
The link for which would be popping up on the chat right here, somewhere around here. So please do join in on that. Just a reminder. All right. I'll move on to the next question, Emily. Could you talk a bit about the internship opportunities that Cambridge, the University of Cambridge Judge Business School has for MBA candidates, and how does the school's recruitment team facilitate those internships for the candidates?
Yeah, absolutely. So this would be something that you would do in your 4th and final term. So this is your individual project. One thing I will say is we can't call them internships at Cambridge. It's Cambridge. It's 800 years old. There's a million different weird rules. This is one of them. It's called a work placement, but it's essentially an internship. I just want to clarify that. So yes, you can do this in your final term. So this could be one of your 3 options for your individual project. So how it works is it's very similar to the GCP in terms of how you select the internship, how you select the work placement. So the projects team has a portfolio. So we have a business development team that work with companies both locally, further out in the UK, globally, work closely with alumni around the world at different companies. So we have fantastic alumni at the Oslo Cancer Cluster who usually provides a project, a GCP project every year. So they come from a kind of variety of sources. What happens is the student can select that would choose their top 3 from the portfolio of work placements that the projects team sources. And then the company chooses which students, so the client chooses which students they want to work with them based on their CV. And that's the same for the global consulting project as well. But of course you can source your own. We do have cases where there's spin-offs from global consulting projects. So, you've worked with a client, you want to get more experience with them. They're really pleased with the work you did. Because, it's what better interview to have than actually doing the job with someone.
My final question to you, Emily, is, and this is, I want your personal take on this. What would you say is your personal favorite characteristic or quality about Judge Business School, which sets it apart from all the other business schools, not just in Europe, but across the world?
Okay, I know the answer to this, both as a staff member, but also seeing it from a student perspective. And I know it's a buzzword and everyone uses it, but honestly, collaboration at Cambridge, the community at Cambridge. And I think this is why the size of the cohort is such a draw. And it's not just, it's not just as a student, it's as a staff member as well. The we're all in the same building. You walk around, you run into faculty members, students do, they run into us. And it's this whole idea of a personalized experience that they have. Like I mentioned with the careers, we do work with students on an individual basis, but I just think in general, there's a really strong community here. I mean, I've worked here 3 years and I've absolutely loved working here. pre-COVID, there'd be staff and student coffee at 11 a.m. every morning where everyone would go out into the common room. And I do just have to say that the building itself was designed with this idea of collaboration in mind. So I'm not sure whether you've ever been to CJBS, Ankit. Have you visited before?
Unfortunately, I have not, no.
Well, one day you're more than welcome. I'll give you a tour.
Fantastic.
But it's the old Addenbrooke's Hospital, and when they renovated it, they basically had this idea in mind that they put this big common room in the middle, and the idea is that to get from one side of the building to the other, you have to go through this common room to do that. So the idea is you'll run into people, you'll start talking, generating ideas, collaborating. So the building itself is built around this idea of collaboration, and it, it's not just a buzzword here. It really is kind of, there's just such a strong community. And this is something the students experience on the program, in all their group projects. And actually the feedback we get as well. So I don't know, have you heard of the MBAT?
I have not, no.
Okay, so I call it MBA Olympics.
Okay.
So basically, they haven't done it for a couple of years for obvious reasons. But all the MBA programs at the European business schools get together in HEC every year in around May, June time, and they play sport against each other and etc. But whenever our students would go there and come back, the feedback we always got was they were so surprised at like all the other cohorts, and they just didn't seem as close, or they didn't have this kind of bond that our students seemed to build, and that was something they always fed back to us. And I just thought that was kind of a real testament to kind of the community we have here.
Sounds fantastic.
Sorry, I talked about that a lot, didn't I?
No, that's the most important question in the presentation, and I'm sure the viewers loved the insight that you gave about the school's community, the collaboration that the students share amongst each other, and I think that's great. That's a great insight. Thank you for that, Emily. Thank you so much. I'm afraid that's all the time we have here for the YouTube session. Reminder to everyone again, you can continue this conversation with us in our Zoom live Q&A, the link for which should come right here in the chat somewhere here. And I'm sure whoever's answering your questions in the YouTube chat has been doing a great job. And thank you, Emily. Thank you for taking out the time for doing this. It was really, really fun talking to you. I had a great time. Can't thank you enough for taking the time out for doing this.
Thanks, Ankit. It was lovely to speak to you. Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed being here.
Thanks, Emily. And thank you to all the viewers for joining in. Do take care of yourselves. Stay safe, stay healthy. And do hit a like if you like this video, and do subscribe to GMAT Club's YouTube channel for more premium content and to stay connected with the best business schools around the globe. Thank you, and see you guys in the Zoom session. Bye-bye.